on this week's Rated G.
I hope it's okay. I have tea with me, being soft lifing it. I'm like, I need to be cozy.
Yo,
So for the tea.
that can be merch. But I guess maybe we could say we're on the different ends of the spectrum of work. I don't know, working hard, but not. I don't know. Forget that I said that.
So like for us who were starting to having our own business, there's a lot of things that I do not enjoy and things that I'm uncomfortable with, and there is hardship with it. So I don't want to it's just like sunshine and butterflies. It isn't.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another special edition to the Rated G podcast. I am your host, G. Terado. For those of you who are new here, welcome to the show. And of course, welcome back to those who have been here before. But if you're not familiar with this podcast, here I like to sit down with other artists and creatives, and we simply just sit down, we talk shop, we also talk about life. So if you are down with that, you enjoy this type of content, please be sure to follow, subscribe, ring the notification bell. That way you can keep up with the uploads, especially if you're tuning in through YouTube. I do have other content on there. Don't be shy in the comments section. And if you are interested to follow my guests, social media links will be provided in the show descriptions. All right, so we're gonna get right into it to bring in my special guest. She's been here before, and not that much long ago, maybe almost a month ago now, because time flies. But she is joining me from Stockholm, Sweden. So please welcome back the one and only and the beautiful, soft Lina Sulga.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be back.
I try to say it in I don't know if it's right to say Swedish, but did I say your name correctly?
No, you didn't.
Damn it.
You didn't. So if
I
you want to
tried.
say, yeah, if you want to say it in like properly in Russian, it's Shulga, but now in Swedish, it's Sulga.
God damn it. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I tried.
And that's okay. It's better than Sulja. So...
I mean, I don't know. So, well, because you're all about, the feminine energy and the soft life. I mean, soldier sounds like a more slangish term for soldier, soldier, soldier.
Yeah, it's not happening. You tried. It didn't fly.
No. But so yeah, let's get back to the juiciness, because we've said this privately, we've said it on your previous appearance. We both do aim for the same thing, but I guess we just come from different backgrounds. And I don't know if I pointed this out the last time, but I too have been in a position when I was working at a job, and I would put in all my effort. Like I was to a degree, I was kind of like a almost like an overachiever. Like I would do enough where my boss, my managers would recognize it. Um but I mean, depending on the job, because there's two in mind that where I had a good feedback from, or not feedback, but it was well received of my hard work and efforts. I mean, I'll say it was back when I was working for Michael's Arts and Crafts. And then when I went to a different job, which was completely opposite, it was a fitness, it was a health and wellness center. And that too, right? Because I guess just naturally, I want to put my effort in there and my hard work and try to just, yeah, I guess just get some recognition in that. And when it did, it was completely taken advantage of. And so I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I that's what I think is why you do come with this approach of like, the soft lights because of all the grind and the hard work you put yourself through, at these jobs and whatnot, and then not get the recognition for it, which, I agree, it's bullshit. So I can understand why you kind of make this pivot and then go towards the other path. Whereas I guess for me, my background's different, even with the hard work and stuff. But even before that, I told you I was like a fuck up in school. Well, not a fuck up, but like, I fucked around a lot. I was more like in my college days, I was more like in this party mode because just me, being a child out of four, a sibling out of four. Does that make sense? Anyway, being the youngest in my family, I was the only one that was able to leave my home and go to college in a different state. And I totally took advantage of that and did a lot of partying. And I did enough to get my animation degree, right? So that's why I'm all like, we're gonna fucking grind now. But also, like, I used to be fat. So I understand, like, when you apply that hard work to, I mean, this is now going into like the fitness realm, but that hard work was certainly necessary, at least for me, to, keep the 50 to 60 pounds off, like, so that's why when we bump heads about, hardships versus soft ships.
Yeah, but I love it. Like I love our intellectual debates and seeing like
Oh,
different kind of sides of the aspects and like this was also what inspired me to today's content because you pissed me off because you're like I'm like softness is not weakness and I'm like I'm gonna show you I will prove you wrong but that is also great because like when we feel something this is also like it's a great indication what do we believe in what do we stand and like when we talk I get to learn more about myself like why does this make me angry what do I believe in why is it so important to me and it makes me more connect also like finding my audience and connect with them and so I love it and also like to know what would people who would not follow me think. So I get like more like a big picture kind of view and also like where to position myself and why do I think this is so important. So listening to you, it is like very interesting because when you said before, it's like you're like, yeah, I was like more of a like chill dude. And now I'm like in the hardships and the grind. And I was the opposite. I was the hard worker. So maybe there's a shift there because what I have noticed like is usually like I think that we spoke about this privately is like when the pendulum swings from one side to the other and then you find the middle the balance so this could be like our situation but the opposite because I was about like the hardship the grinding like I was competing in Muay Thai and I was like kicking ass. I was like fighting with dudes. Like I was super hard. I was overachiever. I had the highest grades. So I was like really, really like about the structure. I like every job I had high position, but that also like it broke me because yeah, like I was putting so much value on the achievement. And because the reason why I talk about this is because I went through it myself and it's not healthy.
mhm.
So that's why I'm speaking so much about the softness because I have experience and I have so many friends and coworkers and people who I truly love and care about that I've seen experience this as well when you just work and work and work and work until you have nothing left. But if you attach your value to the outcome, you will never feel good enough. And that's very dangerous to like let me just grind and grind and grind until you completely break.
Mhm.
So this is for me so important to find that balance again and to um Well, yeah, to have like work-life balance, because we do need to work, but at the same time, like I believe that we could have play and joy and have time with our family and time for our hobbies, and also for us to listen and find our voice. Because when we're constantly busy and we do things from like the wrong places, like attaching our self-value, usually we make decisions based on something that is actually not right for us.
Mm.
And when we are not following that voice, usually it just leads to disaster, because I have witnessed that. Like for me, my overachiever, it didn't give me anything. I was just overworked and tired. So I was like, yeah, let me work for three people, no problem. Let me organize this. Oh, it's not my job description. No worries, I can do it anyway. Look at me. And then I had the high positions. I had like so much responsibility, and I was just drowning until I was like, it's not it's not fulfilling. So that is why and I know like that people struggle with this, and that's why I think it's so important to address this, because this is a common issue, and I want to shed light on it, that like we're the people who feel like this, they're not alone, and there's community and support, and there's a way to break out. And that's why I'm promoting the small steps, slowing down to figure out who you are, because that is the first step for you to actually be in alignment with yourself.
Mm. Yeah, wow, you said a lot of things that that really resonated with me, and kind of reminded talking about, all right, so because there's so many things you said that really hurt my mind, because I did a recording yesterday with my friend in Angola, or actually he's in Portugal, and I shared this quote because I really believe, even last night it related then, but I think this kind of applies to one of the things you said, and that was how through our conversations, even privately, getting an understanding of each other's sides as well as like ourselves. So if you don't mind, I kind of want to share this quote with you and see like if in any way it resonates with you as well. I mean, take it with a grain of salt, right? There might be some things that are like, not necessarily this part, but maybe this part, right? And now this coincidentally is a Bruce Lee quote as well. So the quote he says here is, self knowledge involves relationship. To know oneself is to study oneself in action with another person. The relationship is a process of self evaluation and self revelation. The relationship is the mirror in which you discover yourself. To be is to be related.
100%. This is exactly why I talked to one of my closest friends. We have talked about this several times about this topic, and that is so true. Something that we have talked about is it is so easy to be alone because you will not be triggered. And sometimes, like, I believe in spirituality and spiritual growth, but there's a lot of ego
Mm.
also that you need to be mindful of, because you'd be like, sunshine and butterflies, and I am so good, and blah, blah, blah. And then you go face your family. So, something like one of what she says is, facing your family is true test of your spiritual growth and your evolution. So this is something that made me think as well, is like, why do we get triggered in, like, for example, relationships or close partnerships, close friendships? Because as the quote said, there are mirrors back shining our insecurities, our fears, what we believe in. So this for me, it's so true, because there is a level of how much I can know myself. But if you don't provoke me or tell me stuff, there is no room for contemplation to be like, why does this disturb me?
Mm.
So, but also, like, I am so much for balance. And I think we do need each other. This is so important because, yeah, like if you just sit alone, you will not be triggered. You will not know new things because you think what you think, and no new thoughts will not come if
Mhm.
you just like sit with yourself, with your company. But also, like, the other side of it is you still need alone time, because too much conversation with others could also affect you, because you need to both hear yourself and your voice, but you also need others aspects so you could evaluate. So too much alone time is not healthy, and too much socializing is a distraction. So you will not be like, okay, yeah, I heard you, but is is it true what you said? Does this allow align with me? Because sometimes even like the bad relationships, they show us also what we do not want, which is also like so important. So I am all for balance. My moon being in Libra, it's really important for me to see all the aspects. Very diplomatic.
No, I mean it's good to have balance. It's good to have multiple perspectives in order to formulate your true opinion of things, like whatever the topic be. I feel like these days, you know, with with like the woke movement and all this stuff, like it's like I don't know, when people start following the tribalism, it can get really squirrely because when you only surround yourself with one type of person, one type of people, let's say, I mean, sure, it can be good in the beginning because you feel like you fit in, you don't feel like you're alone, but it does get to a point, it can get to a point where you're not getting enough just different information, um to maybe even like validate what you believe is for the betterment of humanity or whatever. So I'm very much a believer of that. And it's why I love doing the podcast, because like you said, it's just to, it's good to be by yourself, right? Like the shit. There's plenty of times, I mean, not even on the podcast, but everything I do from when I get up to when I start working, I mean, I'm like in my head all morning. And yeah, it's good to, maybe share the thoughts or ideas that you kind of just been stuck with in your head, and share that with somebody to get like some input or just like outside perspectives on it. It's like, man, am I fucked up for thinking this, or whatever. It's just good to be open-minded too. So
Yeah, and I think it's important to have that fight, because, and also, like, I think just because you don't agree on some things, it doesn't mean that you're against each other. So that's what I think is really important to know, because you can have different opinions and still be friends or still care for one another. But I think that is like when you know that you're like, yeah, we don't need to agree on everything, but it comes from love or it comes from kindness. I think most like people who needs to be with similar people, it can't be open-minded. It becomes because they feel attacked. It's like, oh, you don't share my values, you don't share my opinions, you don't share my interests, then you need to be against me.
mm,
And it just isn't that way. And yeah, I think it's really healthy to see the whole perspective, because it's so easy to be one-sided, and it's never the whole truth. You just see one side of the issue. And if you surround yourself, like for example, with social media and the algorithms, so you see only one side and you're like, yeah, I'm so amazing. And it's like you just see one point of it.
mm.
But you need to be open to see the other way as well. I think it's really, really important and healthy, especially like, yeah, with social media, it's so easy to be stuck in your ways and then we don't grow.
Mhm. Yeah. Amen, sister.
Amen.
I do have a question here. Um, this might be a little off topic, or maybe not, because you do speak for you're all about the feminine energy and stuff, right? So my question is, and this is because I don't know how it is over there, but obviously here in the Western society, the feminist movement is become I'm just gonna ask the question. Do you believe in toxic feminism?
Definitely.
Okay.
Toxic, there's everyone. Like, for me, it's so weird to be like, no, you have both sides everywhere. There's ego everywhere and there's toxicity everywhere. And we do have both toxic and masculine and the feminine for
Mhm.
sure. Like, unevolved part of us. I think they're everywhere.
Okay. Well, it's a relief to hear you say that because I feel the same way, right? But God forbid if I say that out loud around certain people here, because yeah, just down here, it's just like again, talking about tribalism. Like there's like you have, you if you support this group and that's it, you're all for this group. Like I have seen friends, which is like so disappointing, but I have seen friends like like Pride Month. I have this one friend that would post these memes saying things like this is a day, it's like I'm gonna paraphrase it, but it was like, if you're not gay on this month or this day, like you should be in jail, like type of shit. And I'm just like, I'm sure they don't, maybe they don't believe in that 100%, but I'm just like, think about the message you're putting out there. Like we all are like striving for equality, inclusivity, but I feel like, and if I'm wrong about this or if you disagree about this, obviously it's fine, but it's like I just feel like when you push so hard on a particular movement, you kind of like create these borders for to people that like are open to it but don't fully subscribe it. Like I just feel like when you create these certain borders, it's like now you're not really being open. Like you're just because you're only fighting for gay rights or Black Lives Matter, like whatever the thing is. Like people here are so like you're black or white, you know, and it's just like me. I was telling my friend last night. I'm like, it's like hard for me to just say confidently that like I'm a proud American. I'm like I don't know. Like, I'm fortunate to have the quote unquote freedoms that I have, but it's certainly becoming more and more difficult to be able to like relate with people because of their very, very strict ideologies. Again, whether it's
Mm.
feminism, whether it's LGBTQ, trans and like all that stuff. Like like not everything is black and white. And I feel like when you push for one ideology, you completely close yourself from all the other possibilities that could provide this inclusivity, this like exception and validation of each other, regardless of beliefs. So, like, that's been like really heavy on my mind as of late. And that's why, like, I asked you, in the DMs the other day, which I thought your response was so fucking funny when I asked you about like, oh, like, what is what do we how do we appear to Sweden? Because and when the stuff I watch on YouTube, it's like, oh yeah, like America's fucked up. And I'm just like, I've been very interested in picking brains, of my international friends and see like, what do you think about Americans and how divided we are? Because that's the thing. Like I would jokingly call us the divided states of America, because to call us united right now is like, nah, nah. I mean, some of us are still united, but it's very thin. I feel like we're a rare breed now, almost like going back to the black sheep talk. So that's why when I asked you that, your response was like, "Yeah, we don't care about you."
No, we don't. We have our own lives. Like, I don't know, but I don't know. I got like a picture that like Americans think like America is so amazing. It's like for you it is. We
Oh, we're
have our
not,
own
bro.
shit.
I'm sorry. Like, I mean, we are capable of amazing things, but I'm not gonna sit here and say it's hard for me to even say America's the greatest country in the world, because like we have put that front for so many decades. Whereas now, while things are advancing, technology, community, society, I mean, COVID was a great example of showing like how sort of feeble-minded we are, you know. So that's why I had to ask you. I was just very curious to see like what the. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, you guys don't care about us, but like but what is like the general like what's just the general thought about America? Is it just like, oh man, America's like fucking up right now? Like, is that the kind of thing? Is that the
I think
consensus?
I think it's a very broad topic, and it's also depending on who you're speaking with. Like for
Okay.
me, because of my own interest, like I'm not so much about politics.
Okay.
And what I focus on love and kindness.
Hmm.
So that's why for me it's like it is the topics with my friends, and we're like more of minding our own businesses. Like it's really who you're speaking with. Some people are very invested. Me, I'm not. So my circle is not. So it's like it's very, yeah, it depends on your interest. So like for me it's not something I think about. And back to your topic about the different kind of extremes, like I believe what we focus on grows. So I'm very mindful on what I am consuming and how I think and how I speak and what I do, because I want to focus on kindness and love. So that is in my radar. And I think when I focus on it, this is what I can share it and send it out, and that multiplies. Because if you're fear based, you will spread fear, you know? So it's the same thing like with your friend. Sometimes when we fight, we just create more of what we don't want. So, for example, he promoting, yeah, you have to be that. But what he's doing is just creating more resistance. So for me, I don't have energy on fucked up shit, you know? Like I'm here to do something great. I want to accomplish something great, and that is why like those are my topics with my friends. So I don't think I will be the right person to ask, because I'm just like I'm here to spread light, you know? So that is my main topic.
No, that's totally fine. I just figure I'd pick your brain about it. And like the friend I was talking to last night, like he was on the same page with me. So, shout out to Jerson Lemos. But I like, because at the time he was living in Luanda, Angola. So I was like, what's the word? Like, how is America perceived in the general public of Angola? So like, at least like for him, like he sees the shit I see too, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just interested whether I believe he's right or wrong. But it's just I just find it very interesting. And I have to
I
say,
would say, yeah, I would say it's not something that is inspiring. So
well,
to
yeah,
answer your question, yeah, it's not something that you feel that you want to achieve or inspire. You just like, yeah, you know, but then you go and live your life. Because at the end of the day, what is like being focused on the other, I think like I have there's a quote by Rumi that I love so much. It says like, yesterday I was smart and I tried to change the other, but today I'm wise, I'm trying to change myself. And this is how I feel. It's like it's always start with ourselves. And by doing and being an example, this is how we spread change. So by focusing on the other, it's like there are like if the things are outside of your control, yeah, you can be aware, but at the same time, what will you do about it? You still have your life, you still have your friends, you still have your family, you still have your circle. So you need to start with that.
Yeah.
This is something that how I think and live by, because if I'm trying to create something good, it will emanate out, and this is how I will leave a good mark. And like, yeah, I can be focused on like you,
Mm.
but what will it give me? Nothing. I'd rather be focused on something that I can create.
No, 100%. And the reason why, honestly, that that I've been talking about this, especially amongst, I'll even just say international artists, because I've been very heavy on this topic with you and my friend. But the reason why, like, I'm talking about it a lot now is just because there are artists here that I try to befriend. I try to build these friendships and camaraderie, but it's like you follow someone because of their craft online, right? You just follow like, oh, I like their work. I find their content inspiring and motivational. And then you get to a point where when you're like watching their stories, and their stories are just filled with all this politics. It's just like, I mean, obviously I can just always look away, but it's just, it just affects me because like the people that I'm trying to connect with are the ones that have these strict ideologies, and I'm just it's just kind of, it's a bummer for me being such a social butterfly.
You can
Um,
always unfollow.
huh?
You can always like, I'm done with this. It's not for me. I'm not your crowd. Yeah, but I get
It's
what you're saying. Like for me
yes,
also, I do not enjoy heavy topics because I feel like there are so much pain in the world. I don't have energy to watch more pain.
right. I
Like,
mean, yeah,
you know,
it's heavy stuff, but like that's the thing too, like, and that's why I will say I love, again, right, going back to how we communicate, even if I piss you off, but there's still smiles, that we still laugh with each other, we're able to even just like talk about the differences, whereas some people, again, here, it's like that's not as much of an option. Again, it's just like you're either with me or you're not. It's like the philosophy of a Sith Lord from Star Wars.
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
So that's the thing too. That's been always my thing, is like I used to always say I don't like to get political, but just the way that the climate has been changing, it's like fuck, like no matter what you do, or no matter what you say, I guess depending who's receiving that is gonna make it political. And it's just like, fuck, man, I'm not even trying to like make that point. I'm just thinking like in terms of like just being a decent human being. But of course, these people like to create these tribes. And like I'd love to go back to this like sort of free thinking, mindset. But again, like I'm slowly weeding out the people that are negatively affecting me, but it's just I'm just in the shit of it right now. So but I mean, I agree, like I don't want to waste my energy thinking about this stuff, and like people, I see friends, peers that are saying like, if you're not vocal about not that I'm going to get into this, but this whole war in Israel, right? It's like, if you're not going to say anything about it, you're part of the problem. And it's like, hey man, I don't want to talk about it because it's going to fuck with me, like it's just going to fuck with my mood and how I proceed in life. Like, I'm just I'm concerned and driven about my own life and my endeavors, right? It's like that's how, and yeah, I'm like, yeah, okay, so fuck me for not saying, free Palestine or whatever. And like, it's like, look, man, like it's terrible, right? We can all agree, like any war is terrible. We obviously don't want to, we don't want to keep losing lives. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, I'm gonna sound like a fucking asshole, but I'm gonna say, that war, it's not affecting me it's not affecting me personally, it's not affecting me physically. I'm here right now being present, when my wife's here, when my friends are here, like I'm being present. I'd rather stay grounded and not, I would like to not have social media affect me the way it's been, but here we are. But anywho, sorry about that rant.
No, that's okay. But like, what I like, the only thing that you can be is actually be authentic. This is something that I'm trying to be more of. And like in the creative community, something that we've been taught on, like to be authentic, and you will meet opposition
Yeah, you're gonna
to
definitely
that.
ruffle some feathers.
Yeah, and like those people are just not your people. This is just how it is. But I believe as long as you do thing from kindness, I think this is so important to be kind, because it's different if you're like trying to be mean and hurt other people, or you're just coming from kindness. Like for example, I am okay to disagree with you because I know you're a kind person. I never felt like it was like mean or come from a wrong place. So I'm like, yeah, you just like you have your own opinions, but you're a kind person. Sometimes we will disagree, and that's completely normal. And people who can't think like that also do want them. Like it's hard to be always walking on eggshells and be like, yeah, I'm afraid to say something or be like this. At the end of the day, we're all people, we're all human. We learn mistakes, we fuck up, like if we can just be nice to each other, that's like the basic, just be nice to each other, that would be great. So that is my take on it, like,
Oh,
and we're all struggling in different kind of ways. Some people struggle that are like visible, and some people struggle are invisible, and we have all our journeys, so we like, it's hard to judge one another because you don't know what that person is going through. So I think just showing compassion, kindness and compassion, I think that's the only thing that we can do.
yeah, 100%. I agree with that. And that is why I became an artist.
Oh my God, you. I'm gonna be diplomatic. I'll not say anything. I'm gonna
bringing
show
up,
kindness.
bringing up the creative academy. I've been thinking about this since our first podcast together. Because as far as I know one person in our community had possibly tuned in to an extent. I know maybe one or two other people who have seen clips that I've made. But like, has that ever like come in mind? Be like, oh, I wonder if people from the CIA, if they caught any of our conversations. Had that cross your mind at all?
Of course, like from the beginning when we start talking about it, I'm like, like I think about everything all the time.
Because like part of me had thought about like sharing a short clip in the community group, but I'm like, I don't know. I am, part of me is a little concerned about any particular people being offended if they catch something and recognize the context.
Oh, sure. But you were the one talking, so I'm okay. I'm like, okay.
Well, I will say, there was one, I mean, who I maybe that also felt the same way that we did about feeling like a black sheep in some cases. And I've been pretty every now and then I'd be talking to her too, Kristen. So she might be ending up on the podcast at some point because I'm curious to pick her brain. But yeah, sometimes I think about it. Sometimes I think about, all right, I want to, I want to share this thing and like let the community know, like, hey, one of our own has been on the podcast, But I'm like, maybe some people shouldn't listen to it.
Yeah, then you need to be mindful.
Well, yeah, right. We all come from different points of view, so whether they agree with what I have to say, that's on them. So, but I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe.
but it's like, yeah, I think it's completely fine to not relate to everything, It's just like just the way it is. It's like it's so funny when you're like, yeah, I don't like the word soft. I'm like, that is where I draw my line. I draw my line. It's gonna be soft. So I draw my line, in the sand, my position. So like
Oh
I'm
my
fine with
goodness.
it.
You know, you know what that makes me think of? Are you familiar with the Batman and Robin meme when he's slapping Robin?
Yes, I will slap you. No, I'm kidding.
Yo,
I'm just
no,
joking.
I'm gonna make that meme, and
Oh,
I'm
please
gonna
do tag me. That would be so much fun.
that's,
I would love it.
I'm gonna use that to promote the podcast because it's so, I mean, yeah, it's so true when we talk about that. Anytime I bring up the soft lifestyle,
You're
oh,
like,
it's so
but
funny.
I believe in struggle. So life. No, I'm kidding.
Soft life. This the soft slap.
Yeah, I'll slap you softly. No, I'm kidding. But
It'd be like a brush slap. It's like,
oh yeah.
ah.
Yeah, but
Oh
that's the
shit.
thing. I think it's so important to laugh about it and joke about it. As I said like before, I think we do have our debates and like we come from different points of views, but it's with kindness and it's still like we'll laugh about it. I'm like, yeah, I get your point, but I'm gonna do my way anyway. Like it kind of like it's like yeah, because different kind of audiences. So this is like what I'm thinking. Like just because you don't relate to something, whatever you don't relate to, somebody maybe will. Like I don't know, just like it is what it is. But I think it's important to laugh about it.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was like, even with the Instagram reel that I made with you.
Burnouts, I paint peaceful paintings and promote soft lifestyle. Join my community where we live authentically and create our dream life.
I told you that I was gonna do something like that at some point, but I don't know why. There was like this hint of thought in my mind. I'm like, so I was like, oh, what if someone in our group is gonna think I'm mocking you?
Oh, but I love
Like,
it. I think it's so much fun. I love it. So
well,
I
that
think
was
it's
a
hilarious.
well, that was the thing that helped me kind of like overcome that concern and just put it out there anyway. Just because like they may not even realize sort of how close we are becoming the more we talk. So I was like, you know what, fuck it. They don't know our relationship at this point. So, if they're offended, they're whatever. I and
They're
you
not
can
our crowd.
imagine. Yeah.
They're not our audience if they're offended.
Yeah. Well, so funny enough, actually, last night, uh, my wife was going through her reels and you popped up in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then like and at first because it was the same clip that I used to make the remix. So I'm like, oh, is that Lina's actual post or is that the one that I remixed? And she's like, no, this is like the full thing. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like that's really cool. So there you go. You're popping up on my wife's algorithm. Congratulations.
Amazing. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
You're making
Maybe we'll
waves.
be besties too soon.
No, it's yeah, I don't know. But I'm gonna say again, I really do much appreciate, what we've developed since meeting on the CIA. And yeah, so I'm glad that we got this thing going pretty strong. I do want to pick your brain about this because I saw your post from earlier. Fucking flexing. So I'm really curious because like we barely dipped our toes in that conversation last time, but like how did you get into the fitness lifestyle?
I actually I was struggling a lot during my teenage years, like with the confidence, and I was yeah, it was a confidence thing. So I was like, I felt like during my teenage years, I was definitely the outcast and the black sheep. So I started to go to karate. I don't know how to pronounce it right, like karate. Did I
Okay.
say right? Yeah.
I mean, if you're like I mean like a real person, a douchebag would be like, no, Lena, it's pronounced karate. Karate is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So I started to do that like when I was 16 to build up my confidence. And then the overachiever that I am, like I got stuck, I'm like, yeah, I need to have my this belt and that belt, like I got into the discipline. And then like what I love, like going to those kind of classes, you do build confidence, but you also build community. Like me being an outcast and the black sheep, and I couldn't find my belonging. I find my belonging there. So the more like I did, I was like, yeah, I'm good and I'm good with my technique and I have like a part of the group. So there was a lot of fun. And then I started to do Muay Thai. So I competed in karate and then and then I was like, okay, this is boring. I need to level up. This is like typical me. I'm like, I get something and I'm like, I'm bored now. And then I competed in Muay Thai for 2 years.
That's awesome.
But also like uh, being, yeah, like getting my confidence. And I was like, no, like I started to like, there were several reasons why I quit. One of the reasons it became dangerous. And I'm like, okay, I need to take care of my body because like I was fighting and I was competing and I was fighting with guys. And I'm like most of the guys, the one who do take it seriously, they get injuries. And I know I can't. When I'm doing something, I like to grow and evolve. So for me, it's like, okay, I can't just come and not putting the effort. But if I will put the effort, I will get to the point where I will hurt myself or I will get the injuries. And also, there was like a while I started to work a lot and I was like commuting and I was like living in one city and working in another city. So I didn't have that time anymore. And also, I was much more interested in gym because I had the freedom to train whenever I wanted. And also, I was like very interested in like sculpting and shaping the body. So that was like the transition from, so like I started based on the confidence thing, but then like it became a lifestyle and it was something enjoyable. And now like I still go to the gym, but now I don't feel like I started because I wanted to shape and sculpt body, but now I'm just like
Now you understand the longevity of it.
yeah, like now I'm come to the point like the more you start to work also on self-worth and self-acceptance and be like, you know what, it is what it is. I'm more like of just keeping it up to be like, yeah, I'm more about balance and being healthy and just continuing on. So I'm like, I'm very happy where I am, but I'm also like, for me now, like my body is my temple. I want to take care of my body. Like I'm like, okay, before I was like, yeah, I need to put heavy weights. I'm like, no, it's more important for me on the technique and how I feel. Yeah, and the longevity, the healthiness. It's like more of a holistic approach
Yeah.
to eat healthy and to take care of yourself. And yeah, but I still do it because it is a part of me now. But it is more like, yeah, I go train. I just the upkeep,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maintenance.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm all for that. I mean, it's the same way too. That's like my philosophy now. I've through my fitness journey, it was first all about weight loss. And then sure, like the confidence came through. When the confidence for me came, that's when I was like, all right, I want to test my strength now. So I started lifting heavy. I'll even admit, for so many years, I was basically like ego lifting. Now I got some physical ailments that I'm dealing with, but from for like the last couple of years, it's all just been maintenance, trying to sustain uh my physicality. Sure, I'm trying to still keep my weight off, but I'm also just trying to maintain my functional strength. That's like a key word I've been putting out there, just like, especially when I'm promoting the healthy lifestyle. I'm like, it's all about, I'm not trying to promote strength training, or you got to be a triathlete. No, no, no. I'm speaking to my people, fellow vendors, artists that live and work sedentary lives. It's important to exercise a little bit. You don't have to go hard, you can go soft. But it's just a matter of conditioning your body so you can keep living your life, happily, and a long life. I even like, because I have friends that have kids, um, and when they need that push to, like, you know get a little exercise in, or just like to do the thing to get them out of their comfort zone. I always tell them, I'm like, look, if you're not going to do it for you, do it for your children, do it for your family. If you want to stick around you want to stick around them, keep yourself healthy so that you can all be together. So I always try to hit those bottom lines. And like, even just again, talking about artists, vendors, makers, like, if you want to keep, you want to thrive in your business and you want to keep that going because you love doing it, don't neglect your body. And I believe in the balance, right? So it's like, obviously you don't have to go hard every day. You're gonna have your days off, or you're gonna have your days where you just want to go for a walk. That's all perfectly fine. But I am, I think I said this, like, maybe in the DMs, but I'm like, just, you got to keep yourself accountable. People don't really keep themselves accountable these days. So that's like the message I always try to put out there, pertaining to health and fitness. It's like, you don't got to be a bodybuilder, but if more than majority of your life have been just sitting around, you've been, a little overweight. It's like, just get a little, get your heart rate up a little bit, so
Yeah, but it's also, I think, like getting and starting with those stuff, it is about discipline,
oh yeah,
which is really, really good because it teaches you, because it's like, if you want to build a business, it's discipline. And if you're used to go working out, it's like, it is heavy. Most of the times you don't want to do it, but you will feel better afterwards. So like for me, it was starting first to building confidence.
yeah,
And then it was ego based.
right,
But then it's like it develops like some of the things that I see also on my TikTok.
yeah.
It is, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm listening. It's just my cats
Okay,
are
good. Because I'm like, should I talk? Should I not
no,
talk?
keep going.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So like one of the what I see on TikTok is like, okay, how to build confidence, and one of the things is to keep promises to yourself, and this is a great way to keep a promise. Okay, I did this, I accomplished this. So you have more faith in yourself. So having that structure is also helping you in other aspects of life. And also, it is something, one part of self-love, because this is something that we also don't talk about, and this is something I want to include more in my content, is, of course, one part of self-love is pleasure, but it's not always. Sometimes it is do things that you know is good for you that you don't enjoy. For example, go take a walk or go to the gym. It is the movement to get out of the house, to do things that maybe you're like, yeah, I'm lazy and I'm tired and I don't want to do this. But usually when we move our body, like we have the hormones and everything, you will feel better. So it's once again like the balance of things. That's so important.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know who you sound like?
Tell me.
Terado. No. No, I agree, right? Self, because that's what Westerners preach about, is self-love. But yeah, of course, you want to have your moments of peace and quiet, having a nice cup of tea or whatever, read a book. But when you do that too many times, too much, it can cause some issues in other areas. So again, like the main theme is balance, right? Um, but yeah, self-love is also what's also part of self-love is taking care of yourself, in all the things. So yeah, I want to take care of myself by taking it slow. But I know if I've been taking it slow for 5 days, boy, on a weekend, I better go hard for at least 20 minutes. you know, like so yeah, the balance is very much it's essential.
Yeah, and that's the thing also, that's the difference of taking it slow and having distraction. That's why I was talking about, like, one of my posts was like, you need to allow yourself to get bored.
Mm,
Because if you don't have distractions, you will get bored and then you want to take action.
yeah.
You'll be, yeah, like I've been on the couch forever. I'm bored. I'm gonna go do something. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
But if you are on the couch and have a distraction, it's like, okay, you're not resting and you're not productive. You're in between, just wasting time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is nice. Of course, I also enjoy to have social media and to be and distract myself because it is nice. But once again, it's about balance. Like you need to be like, okay, I've done this too much now. So it should not go over the line because sometimes, yeah, like I also do it because it could be hard for me to switch off my brain when I've been overproductive. Then I'm just like, I want to have social media to block out the noise. But sometimes I'm way over distracted. So I need to be like, okay, I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I need to be completely bored because that's the only way to have the reset because I'm all over the place or.
Yeah.
But you need to allow yourself because when you're like, okay, I have nothing to do, then ideas will come. You get inspired. But you need to get to that point. And that's another thing is like you need to be uncomfortable to be comfortable.
Oh my goodness. You say that a lot.
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Oh my goodness. That might have to be the title of this episode. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Oh,
I sprinkle you with truth. I don't know.
no, I mean, no, you've been pouring nothing but truth on. It's just like a bucket of truth. Yeah, no sprinkling here. No way. We go all in. But I can't agree more. And like that's why people unplug. Some people just completely unplug and they will ride out into the sunset and just live their lives and just be present with themselves and perhaps their family and just and that's a scary thing to do for a lot of people, right? Is like to get off social media completely and just live your life, really, because a lot of people, I'll include myself too, like, yeah, we look for that stimulation from social media and like just technology in general. It keeps us distracted from the quietness, whereas, I've learned, or I've been able to adapt to, having those moments of quietness, so that, just to gain clarity of my thoughts too, right? Like a lot of sometimes I build opinions because, I'm influenced by other people, other speakers and stuff. But I was like, it's good to like sit down and just, just be present with yourself. And I do believe in like having some form of self therapy where you're just kind of like doing a lot of that introspective work and all that. And I mean, yeah, I mean, what you want to, boredom, right? I mean, that's what a lot of boredom can propose, or promote, rather, is, boredom can many times, for a lot of people, have people dealing with boredom, they end up creating something so great and so impactful, you know, not because they're on social media 24/7, because they actually spent enough time by themselves in the quiet, in the dark, just
Yeah, but just imagine, like when we were kids, we didn't have social media. We were creative. We were social. We had communities. We had to come with different ideas, different, like we entertained each other because
yes.
we had to. We had to come up with something because there was nothing. But now we don't need to come up with something because there's always something.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, because we're like generally in the same age group. So like same, yeah. Man, there'd be times where when I would be driving around my in my neighborhood, back where I'm originally from, and I remember just getting so like just feeling this like joyfulness, seeing kids like actually playing outside in the yard. And I'm like, man, that's where it's at right there. Kids are programmed to believe, like, you get those dopamines and like all the happiness and stuff by watching whatever on social media or streaming shows on whatever. It's like, nah, man, if you're like outside playing with your friends, not having a worry about what's going on the other side of the world, like, man, what a time. What a time. Like I miss that for, like that's I don't, I'm sure there's some parents out there that, in our age, that are like, yeah, we got to make sure our kids have like the most natural, um what am I trying to say? Just to have that innocence, almost, just the innocence of like just playing and not, I mean, I don't want to get too edgy, but like not going up to your parents and be like, I feel like I'm a boy in a girl's body, like it just like there was none of that talk, right? So like we would just literally go outside and play and fuck around. Sure, if we got hurt, we learned our lesson, like we took risks. Um, and there's not many of that. I when I was talking to my friend yesterday, I was like, yeah, I was like, are you familiar with, well, I'll ask you, are you familiar with sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me?
I've seen it on TV, but like
So like, that
that's
used
what
that used to be like the saying, words can never hurt me, but nowadays
words can hurt.
words can cancel you. Like, yeah, and another thing that I said was that we were brought up to have thick skin, but nowadays you're brought up to have thick bodies. Okay, I digress. Yeah, I don't know. It's a crazy world, but going back to boredom, yeah, I would definitely subscribe to that. Like it's good to have some boredom in your life, because then it really allows you to have time for yourself. And yeah, try to gain some clarity on like whatever has been on your mind. Um, I mean, a lot of comedians, right? Because you like comedy. I mean, I hear a lot of comedians say, like, man, when they're bored, that's like prime time for them to start writing jokes, because they're just like in their head. They're just thinking of like these ideas and like, oh, how do I make this funny? And they create these premises or bits. So, yes, boredom, I'm for it.
Yes,
Although
me
I
too.
used to, I used to
But
hate
it is
kindness though, but not so much nowadays.
like it's hard, it's challenging because the thing is, we live a hectic life, we live a busy life, and it is so easy to get distracted. And usually, when we pause, like a lot of stuff, especially if we have suppressing, we like sometimes we're busy because we just don't want to deal with ourselves and our emotion. And when if you've been running away from yourself for a long time and you pause, it could be very, very uncomfortable because then you have your insecurities or your traumas, everything is coming up to the surface. And sometimes it could be very heavy. So it is good to have support with you because like something that I have realized is like now we have so much education on feelings, but we didn't have it growing up. So it's like you don't know how to deal with your feelings and your emotions. So you're like, yeah, I'm happy now. And I'm like, oh, this feeling I don't like. I don't like it. What should I do with it? Like, so you run away, you suppress it, you eat it, or you distract it away because in the silence, in the boredom, it will come up. And if you don't know what to do with it, it's just so uncomfortable. In this, like for me, it's also we put so much shame on negative emotions. It's like, no, this is something bad. It isn't. It is uncomfortable, but it will pass. And usually, like it is because of our beliefs. That is also usually is I'm not good enough. I'm not this. I will not be loved. Blah blah blah. It's like those things that are so universal, but like it could be very, very real, especially if you're feeling that feeling. So sometimes you just need somebody who sit there with you and witness your feelings, or just someone to hug you because it's like, I know this feels uncomfortable, but that's the thing. Like you need to be brave. You need to be brave to let other people in or sit with it and be like, yeah, I'm uncomfortable. It will pass.
Yeah.
But it's also like to get into that stage because sometimes you feel a lot of things and like I don't want to feel this, I don't know what to do, but it's just like, well, it's just part of life.
Yeah.
And like yeah, I do it too. Like for me, I also have my insecurities, just like I'm just as human as everybody else. I'm just like I know about it and I'm like, yeah, but I still get uncomfortable. I still get triggered. I have all those feelings, and sometimes I'm running around and sometimes I dance and shake and fight and sometimes I try to suppress them as well. But just to acknowledge them, I think it's super important to be like, yeah, I do that. I feel that. I think, yeah, back to kindness. I think we need to be kind to each other as well. I think it's so important.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like when you said about the way we were brought up and not having enough knowledge of how to cope with our emotions and like feeling other things. I mean, I very much felt that just because of the dynamic of my family, and I think it's part of the our culture too, like Asian culture. Like it's very rare when the man will show, like sadness and stuff. Like, and it's just funny like thinking about this because like I'm fucking emotional as fuck, but I don't really present that. Like only my childhood friends and even like my friends that I met later in life, like only some of them know how emotional they are. Well, I'll say this: the people that attended my wedding know how emotional I can be because that was all waterworks. My wife was more like the groom, and I was the wife. I was the bride. I was just like, I was the, what do you call him? The groomzilla. No, not groomzilla. Yeah, groomzilla or whatever. Like I was super emotional. But going back to like my like I've never seen my dad cry before, not until like later in my 20s. Like there were certain things that yeah, like I don't know if I should generalize and say like Asian fathers, but like my dad never really showed emotion. I mean, like, I know he has a funny side, like, he can be sweet, he's super supportive, but I've never seen him uh I've never seen him show like sadness or even like tears of joy, right? Like this, so like that was like very new to me, and it really wasn't until later in life where I was fully comfortable to show my tears, so yeah. There's a lot to what you said that like kind of like not hit a nerve, but it like, oh, I was like, oh shit, yeah, you're right, homie, you're right.
No, but I think we do label emotions in a society. I don't think it's only an Asian thing. I think as like sadness, it's a lot of shame. I think it's like it's more for men, but also like uh, it is easier to women, but you need to have the right circle that will support you. Um, but it's like for me, growing up, like showing sadness, it was like a token for weakness. It's like it's shameful, and
Yeah.
it's something that you need to, yeah, and it's like it's uncomfortable, but it's just an emotion, and I don't think that we do have bad or good emotions. They're just emotions that shows us the truth about stuff. Like they show like boundaries, and when our boundaries are crossed, like what we like or what we dislike. But yeah, like growing up, maybe people wanted us to be a certain way, so they're like, yeah, don't show this, don't show that, like don't express this. And I think like maybe because we didn't know any better, but now as like grown-ups and we have more education, and it's be like, I am upset and I am angry, and this is just a part of me. And once again, like your community will respect you. And those who don't, you don't want them anyway, because like it is weird to have people who will shame you for your feelings. Like, well, humans will have them. So I think we should be proud of them, and just like it's a part of expression.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Damn, this has been a heavy podcast. It's been super fun, but we're touching on a lot of deep stuff. So, like, for people that are going to be tuning in, I really hope they're absorbing this all the valuable gems. Um, so let's switch gears, and let's talk about some art. How's the creativity, the art aspect for you? Like, just how's the art going?
It goes good. It goes good. I'm almost done with my latest painting. It's just like, yeah, it is almost done. I need to do one butterfly and then she's finished. So it goes quite fast. But I have been dealing with like, yeah, with the community, and everything is new, figuring out my voice and be better at content creation. So it's like, it is a process.
Yeah.
But art is going well. And I'm going to have my exhibition in 3 weeks. So that is my first one, actually. So that is exciting. I'm a little bit nervous. I got my fabric today for the table so I could exhibit my art. Yeah, so it's just like been some preparations, but that's what is up.
Nice.
How about you? Like you're really busy. You're like, it's like art like this.
mean, I guess so. It's just funny because like, yeah, a lot of my friends will say that when, they acknowledge like how much, like just how much content I'm putting out there, right? Um, but yeah, it's been good. I've been just kind of reflecting on this past year because like I do these weekend markets, and I was talking to my wife about it, and I'm like, damn, like this year has been the busiest in terms of events for me, which like that was the goal, but it wasn't until like I went on my notes and I was like counting like how many events I did. I was like, damn, I did 25 events this this summer, like from starting from spring till now. I've done 25 events. I'm like, God damn. All right. That's pretty good. Like it just like
Yeah.
I knew I was busy, but I'm like, wow, okay. So that's great. And commission work, I feel like I mean I don't have notes to compare to or like records to compare to, but it feels like I've had this may have been like the most commissions I've worked on this year as well. Um so like that's good. I just got another client that I'm working with. So yeah, I mean, yeah, just busy. I'm just trying to stay busy, but more importantly, productive, right? Because you can, oh, what's the say? There's like a saying. It's like, oh, like there's a difference between being like productively busy or just being a busy idiot. So when that would imply like when you're a busy idiot, you're just busy, let's say, death scrolling on social media, as opposed to actually doing the work. So yeah, as far as art goes, I mean, yeah, that was another part of my goal this year was to try to gain more clients for commissions. And I really believe that being so active with the community doing these events, because I mean, that's always been part of my sales pitch when I do these events. And I try because like my wife helps me, uh, and she always forgets to pitch, like to let people know I do commissions and stuff. So I'm like, come on, babe. I'm like, this is the because like what I can make doing a commission, I can make in a month of doing events. So that's when I'm like, I want to do more commissions so daddy can make it rain. But yeah, no, it's been yeah, I'm just really grateful with the support I have throughout this year. So work's been great. I do have to get back on the wagon with my personal work because I too have an exhibit next summer. So I have a lot of ideas written in my notes that I need to start executing. Um, so that's yeah, that'll probably be I'll be getting to that next year once we move into this new house. Because like that's the thing, like right now things are really gonna start slowing down because we gotta pack up the apartment and move. And we're trying to do this by the end of December. So that gives me a lot of anxiety. But and like thinking about the community, like I've been a little quieter on that app just because like I do check in and like see people's wins and stuff, and if I see questions that I think I can help with, I'll chime in, but I try to kind of I'm just keeping low key just so I can bounce, I can just keep up with everything else. Because I am spreading myself out, but so I'm just making sure I'm not spreading so thin. I like, the academy is very important. It's like teaching us so many valuable lessons. So I'm just, I was talking about it in the app with Lennon. I'm like, right now it's a bit slow with my lessons, but I'm just gonna slowly and gradually take my lessons and try to apply them when I can, but I'm really not going to be able to go all in till maybe January. And also because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I get a little insecure when I see some of these people's wins. So I'm like, all right, I don't want to get distracted about that. Let me just focus on me. So yeah, but it's been great. It's been great.
Yeah, but like I've seen you've been very, very productive. Like you have so much things going on and you're very talented. Like seeing your work, like it's awesome. Like you can, for me it's hard with drawing and having the proportion right. And like seeing your art, you just see so fast and you're very broad. Like you can draw so many different kind of things and it's like very accurate in proportion. And it's like it's quite like I like the playing aspect of it. So I think like yeah, I think you're doing great. And of course, like I know what you mean, but
Well, I
you
appreciate
know.
that. You two are talented. Let's not
Yeah, thank you.
me, but you are very talented as well. And I will say though, like, that's a tricky thing about when you're, when you're just showing yourself on social media, because so yeah, like going back to like me appearing to be busy on social media, like I don't feel like I feel indifferent about that. Like I've like I said, and I'm not trying to like toot my horn, but like I've had many friends like acknowledge that, like, man, you're so busy. Like I'm always seeing these things. I'm like, yes, I'm busy, but also like because I document a lot of stuff, I'm recording a lot of videos, a lot of my creative processes. So you got to think like much like the 2030 challenge, like I take parts, little bits and pieces from all the stuff I've documented to create uh pieces of content with a more driven message behind it. But like I don't know, because I come from a like an editing background, like I love editing videos and stuff. So it's just when I'm not creating art, I mean, videography can be considered art, of course, but when I'm not working on my drawings and stuff, I'm not doing podcasts, then I just use that time and opportunity to to create the videos that you're seeing that make me look so busy. But yeah, it's just I don't know. It's funny because like sometimes I don't feel like that, and I guess like when I have, because there are moments, as we all have, where I'm like literally just hanging out and sitting and just thinking, you know? So when people are saying, man, you're busy, you're doing this and that, and I'm like, huh, because like the things that come in my head are the boring, like the quiet parts, like the parts when I'm just kind of like smoking my bowl and just like, listening to music or listening to podcasts, like those slow moments, the soft moments, perhaps. Um, like that's what I'm always thinking of when people acknowledge like my productivity. I'm like, I mean, I'm always like, I'm very appreciative when it's acknowledged, right? But I'm like, yeah, I guess, like there are those moments I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I am busy. But I do think social media can sometimes trick you, you know.
Yeah,
I had this
but it
talk.
sounds like you have the whole picture. That's really great.
I mean, I guess that's just from doing this for years, like yeah, I just been doing it. Well, I mean, in terms of like art, like I've been doing it like all my life pretty much. I mean, there was at one point and during like towards the end of high school, I was experimenting with music. Like I self-taught myself how to play guitar and like was considered like I started bands with my high school friends, write music and write guitar rhythms and stuff. And there was a time when it was getting to that point where I had to like start applying to college. And I remember telling my dad, I was like, like I'm really liking music right now. Like I might consider trying to go to school for music. And it was, my dad was not having it. He's like, he gave me three options. He's like, you either gonna go to school for art or you're gonna become a nurse, because that's what Filipinos do here in America, or you're gonna go to the Marines. And you gotta try to picture Chubby G, Like, huh, I don't want to go to Marines. Obviously, I don't want to fit. I don't want to fall into the Filipino stereotype and be a nurse because majority of my family were nurses. So I was like, I guess the choice I have is to stick with drawing. And in a sense, I was kind of like stuck in because my eldest brother, he's an animator, and he's a martial artist too. And yeah, for many years, I was kind of like stuck in his shadow. Like I was very much following his footsteps, just becoming an animator. And then after I graduated, obviously that didn't turn out to be that way. But I think just I guess just staying active creatively, and then yeah, just using the just indulging on the endeavor of making videos too. I don't know, yeah, I just keep going. you know.
But it shows, first of all, like your actual artwork is really great, but also the editing and everything. So it's like it's an enjoyable process to see both. For me, I'm just starting out because I had art major in high school, but that was about it. Like I didn't pursue it because what like my belief was that you can't make money from art. So that's why I went into the makeup artistry. So like I had the major but didn't educate further. So like yeah, I did like paint other people's faces, but it's not the same. So for me, it feels like I'm starting from scratch. Like I haven't painted paintings in 11 years.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit rusty. And for me, everything is a process to like now the more I do it, because like it is like riding a bike. If you have something, you have something, but it takes a while.
Right. I'm still listening, by the way.
So great, yeah. So
Um,
for me, it's like, yeah,
no, we're good.
yeah.
Sorry, my cat.
No, so it's like for me, I started to paint like in November of 2022, but then I got a full-time job, so it wasn't like so for me, like now that I actually started with the social media and everything like serious, it was like now in September. So I'm going through so much stuff, like it's self-discovery, content creation, how to edit, how to film, the message. So it's like for me, everything is so overwhelming.
Mhm.
So it takes time, and I'm a bit slow, but I start to get faster now. So maybe I don't paint or create as much as I want to because there's so much things that I'm like figuring out. But the more I do, the more faster I become. But of course, like also back to what you said, like you have your insecurities and you're comparing yourself to others. Like I have that too. I can be so frustrated sometimes. I'm like damn it, like isn't my message good enough? Like I followed all the rules, I followed all the structure, I did this, I did, like why, like, and then you compare it to somebody else and you're like, okay, this person just wings it, and it gets recognition, and it's like sometimes it's like it's not even that good, you're like, and I guess you're like, here I'm fighting, but I'm like, you know what, it is a learning process, patience, it takes time, like you still, yeah, it's like I thought of it actually today, and I think it's great that things takes time and not go viral or explode right away, because it is truly a process to, and it's so much, as you said, like introspection. So it's like it's you growing together with your art, like you evolving as a person, and your art is evolving, and your content is evolving, and it's like it takes so much energy from you. So it's like you need to have baby steps.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I kind of like, because I was so shy before, like starting to go on camera and doing all those things, I was so uncomfortable and I was so shy. But I could be more confident just because it didn't go viral, you know? So after a while, you're like, ah, nobody cares, nobody watching. So like you gain confidence in that because you're like, yeah, whatever. It's like I still don't get that much interaction. And from that, you become better. So you're like, ah, I'm more confident. Like yesterday I was dancing in the slippers, like super uncomfortable. Like I would never do that before. But I'm like, whatever, I don't have anything to lose anyway. Nobody cares, you know? But then like when you become more of yourself, you start to be like, wait a minute, something is happening. But it wouldn't happen. Like, do you now understand what like where I'm going? Like it wouldn't happen like yeah, it gives you the time and the space to explore yourself.
Yeah.
So when you get to be more of yourself, but it is because you're exploring, then recognitions like slowly starts to come. So I start to believe it is like it is patience and work in progress. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you just gotta take a step at a time, right? I mean, all these things are really easier said than done, but I mean, it's true. And I kind of like what you said earlier, getting comfortable being uncomfortable. That's how you that's how you grow, you know? So yeah, you did that dance and sure, you didn't feel comfortable doing it, but the viewers don't know that, right? Unless you point it out, right? But people won't know that. They're only going to see what's on the surface and what you're saying to them. Otherwise, they don't know like, oh, like, she wasn't comfortable dancing in front of the camera like that, or like whatever the thoughts may be. Like I totally resonate with that. And yeah, like even like for myself, like there have been moments where I feel like I had to be reserved, you know, kind of like going back to like the societal climate. Because yeah, I mean, before the climate would change in terms of civilization, society, I was very brash and what's the word my wife said? Abrasive, right? And but I was like a very in that fuck it mindset. Like I was just being me. I was being goofy, but a little edgy with the shit I'd say. But and then I got to a point where I just felt like, all right, I gotta just stay quiet because whatever, someone's gonna feel indifferent or offended or whatever. Whereas now I'm like, no, I think I'm just gonna be the goofy me that that like at least like my family and friends, know, and it's like, oh, like I want these new people that I meet and associate with to like, yeah, they're gonna know like who I am for real. And yeah, sometimes it takes some discomfort to get to that point, to be truly yourself, you know. And yeah, that's powerful. So yeah, get comfortable being uncomfortable if you want to grow. It's the only way. That's why I talk about that hard shit, yo. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, and I will promote the soft. So we have the two, yeah, like the two sides.
No.
Oh my God.
How are you on time? Because I know it's probably like 12. It's what, 6 o'clock over there? 6:30?
It's like 7:30. 7, yeah. Yeah. So 6:30, yeah, 6:30.
Well, are you okay? Like I won't take too much of your time. There's a couple more one or two more things I want to.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, so it's we're getting close. I mean, this is going to come out afterwards, but this week Thanksgiving is coming up, and I asked my friend yesterday this question, so I'm going to ask you, and that is, what are you thankful for?
Like I would say actually my people. I'm super thankful for my mom and for the close people that I have close to me. Yeah, especially now, like on the topic that we're talking about, that being true to yourself is something that I was also thinking of today. It is so like there's so much fear of not of being rejected of who you are. So you're trying to play someone else because showing who you are and get rejected is such a risk. So you're like, no, I don't want to risk that. So let me just be somebody who I think you want me to be. But being yourself, it is such a liberation. And I am so thankful for I can be that with the people who are close to me to truly be myself, and that they have seen like all parts of me. So I am so happy for my community because I didn't have that before. I was growing up, I was feeling very lonely, and I was like searching for my tribe and my people. And I'm very thankful to have found out, and it's continue growing. And I'm thankful for our friendship, for getting to know each other through the community. And yeah, being more vulnerable and authentic and gravitates more to your own alignment.
Beautiful. I love that.
Thank you. And how about you?
All right. I might need a quick moment to think so I don't repeat my answer from the last time. Um, uh, I mean, this might be a bit of a, this is kind of piggybacking off of what you're thankful for because yeah, I too am, of course, I said it a bunch of times on the podcast. I've said it. We've talked about it privately, but I am also thankful for our friendship as well, because of our differences, and being able to still go on with our difference of beliefs and our approach with our artwork. Um, but yeah, I am very much thankful for the community I have as well, locally and online, including the CIA. And I am very thankful for those who have stuck with me since day one, for the work I create, for the way I am, right? Rather I'm just if I come off as a wildling or goofy, but also just those friends, families, everyone, the art community, for those who really have stuck with me, regardless again of difference of opinions and beliefs. So yeah, I'm thankful for the real ones who stuck with me and continue to support. Yeah.
Beautiful.
um so before we put a ribbon on this thing, just a couple more things. Would you like to plug your exhibition? When, uh, date, time, place where this will be going down?
Yeah, it is the 9th of December. It will be in Stockholm at it's called Sörgel Hub. I'm not sure if it will be available online as well. I will have a meeting with the organizer tomorrow, so we'll see if I think there will be a possibility to be online to check it. But yeah, it is at the center of Stockholm.
Okay, very cool. And lastly, and I'll make sure I clip this and I post it so then your followers and your people can see attend to your exhibition, because who knows, maybe you might have a couple of people
Stockholm's people
yeah,
or in
Stockholm
Stockholm.
people come through. Who knows, right? Maybe like, I don't know, maybe someone who follows you who's in the area might be able to pop in and actually meet you in person if they don't know you already. Who knows, right? The
Yeah, that would be
possibilities
cool.
are endless. So I'll make sure I clip that for you.
Mm?
But yeah, to put a ribbon on this thing, as I try to stay consistent with, I would like to share another, because this podcast has been filled with some inspiring quotes. So I do want to share another inspirational quote, and it is from the legendary Miyamoto Musashi from his book, A Book of the Five Rings, classic guide of strategy or to strategy. And his quote is, are you familiar with Miyamoto Musashi, the samurai?
No, don't think so. No.
So he has this quote that I also believe just virtually can apply to many things, if not all the things that we spoke about, and just how the world is. But he says, it is difficult to understand the universe if you only study one planet.
That was exactly what we were talking about in the beginning, about having only one type of what you said, like about the tribal and only one way of thinking. Yeah, so that really applies to the quote.
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Oh my goodness. Wow. For those of you who have been tuning in with us throughout this entire podcast, I can't thank you enough. And please, if you haven't already, be sure to follow, subscribe, ring the notification bell, visit the show description so you can find our social media links. Definitely follow Lina online. You can find her on Instagram, TikTok. She has an Etsy shop. Do all those good things. And yeah, please stay safe, stay healthy, and stay driven. And we shall catch you on the next one. Thank you again, Lina, for joining me once again.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah, so thank you, everyone. We shall catch you on the next one. Peace out. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Sprinkle, sprinkle.